Hi, good afternoon, guys. This is Anish, and I'm here on behalf of the National Law Training Institute. Consortium yet again gave a surprise when it announced that the pattern for CLAT 2024 has changed. But there's nothing to worry yet because 6 months are still left, and these are the last 6 months where people step up their CLAT preparation and focus more on it. So I'll give you a brief introduction about what NLTI is and what work do we do for all the new people who might be watching this video today. So NLTI was started in August last year with an aim to provide comprehensive and honest mentorship. So there were a lot of people from different colleges who were under the disguise of giving CLAD mentorship, making hooping sums of money and not providing a lot of stuff. But we thought that this is our obligation towards the CLAD community, that we need to launch something of our own only from the NLS students. So that's why we started NLTI, the National Law Training Institute, in August last year, where what we do is we connect law aspirants, CLAT aspirants, to directly to the NLS people, where these NLS mentors who have cracked CLAT and ALET on their own guide you throughout your CLAT preparation journey and mentor you at every stage of your CLAT prep. So these are not just your mentors, not just your educators, but these are like your best friends, where you who you can like approach at any time of the day, even at night, whenever you are feeling low, whenever you're not feeling yourselves, whenever you think the CLAT preparation is not going up to the mark, you reach out to these people and these people help you out. And these are like your best friends who know you inside out and your CLAT preparation and are able to guide you a lot better than other educators from your coaching industry. So this is what NLTI does. We had a great success in the CLAT 2023 exam, where we saw some 45 to 50 enroll selections in the top three NLUs, that is NLS, NLUD, and ALSAR. And following that, we launched our program for CLAT 2024 as well, and the program is successfully running till date. If you want to enroll in our courses, you can learn more about them on our website, clatnlti.com. The link is available in the description box. Handing over to Aditya Bhargav. Aditya has been a mentor at NLTI for quite some time now, since its inception. He scored an All India rank of 85 in CLAT 2022, and he's here today to help you decode what the new CLAT pattern means and what it entails and how does it affect your CLAT preparation for the next 6 months. So handing over to Aditya, I'll be uploading the PPT. Aditya, you
Yeah,
can take it forward from here.
yeah, sure. Thank you, Anish. All right. Hi, guys. I know a lot of you have been, a lot of you had like a sleepless night yesterday after this happened. But I think frankly, after what like CLAT has been doing for like last 2 3 years, this isn't something that is unexpected, right? I mean, I've just written here that not surprising the aspirants would be a great surprise by the consortium. So the idea is that in this session we'll try to decode like what would eventually happen because of this paper pattern change. What are the focus areas and what should be the priority, like what you guys should prioritize while you prepare for the next 6 months for this exam. Okay. I am able to see the questions in the live chat box. So in case you have any questions, feel free to drop them and I'll address those alongside. Uh, okay, so before we start, let me give you a what the basic agenda of the CLAT consortium is when they go ahead and change the paper pattern. So the idea behind them changing the paper pattern of like what I can think of is that they don't want you to become like comfortable with any one set pattern. Uh, so CLAT consortium has been like criticizing coaching institutes and people belonging from sort of elite communities, that they say that these are the people who are like write the exam much better than the people who come from disadvantaged communities and people who do not have access to like resources such as coaching institutions, etc. So what they are trying to do is that they don't want that people who can afford coaching for 2 years become very comfortable, become very sort of like comfortable with the paper pattern, and that's the reason why they keep on changing it. uh, Now what do we have to do like about this? So the reality is that you can't really do anything about it apart from studying and preparing accordingly, right? So essentially, uh, what I'm going to like do in this session is that I'll take you through as to what the changes, like what would be the consequences of this, like what are the consequences of this change, and we will try and speculate a bit as to like whether the difficulty level of the questions will increase. How should you go about GK, maths, etc. Uh, Now, the question that like have been popping up, like I have received so many texts on my Telegram, etc., is that okay? Well, I think that's something that we'll talk about later. But like, I just wanted to throw some light on it. Is that bhaiya, uh, will the cutoffs have like any impact and so on and so forth? I'll address all of them, but it's important that you guys listen to me carefully and then ask me all of these questions, because I am sure that you will get a lot of answers of these questions as we go forward. Okay, so the first slide. Uh, okay, this is just me trying to be funny, but like I think this is actually the situation right now. Is that every serious aspirant right now is क्या करते हो CLAT consortium? Why do you do this to us always? uh, सब बदल देते हैं, but I think this time it's, if you think of like, it's basically this idea that you can see the bottle half empty or half full, right? That the number of questions have reduced, so that also means that you get more time to attempt particular, like one particular question. So that is probably the good thing about it. The sad thing about it is that you have to be like now now you'll have to be a lot more accurate regarding the paper, right? You can't just mark flukes. You just can't mark, you just can't leave a lot of questions. That's also the second part about it. So I think these are the two insights that we can take right now. Okay. uh, so this was the notification for the people, like for people who don't know much about it and people who are coming, like who will probably start preparing for CLAT and will watch this video later on. So I'll tell you, like I'll just summarize as to what the CLAT consortium did yesterday. They used to have the paper for 150 marks that was supposed to be completed in 120 minutes. However, now they have said that because of this, because they want to make CLAT more student friendly and accessible exam, we will now only have 120 questions that are supposed to be done in 2 hours, which is 120 minutes. With respect to the sections, they say that they will remain the same, which is that we will have English, we will have current affairs, we will have legal reasoning, we will have logical reasoning, and we will have quantitative abilities as well. People were thinking that uh, maths might have been removed because of this change, but no, sadly, maths is still there. Uh, so, more or less, the paper is going to look similar to what it been coming in last 2 3 years. However, the major change has been that the number of questions in every section would sort of be cut down. We also released a sample paper yesterday night, so I think I'll also go through that like after I'm done with the presentation. So I'll take you through as to what we tried to do in that sample paper and why do we think that CLAT consortium will also try to do something similar. Uh, okay, so let's see what the first insight that I have for you guys. I have divided, like I have 5 7 insights that I feel that this new paper pattern will do, and we'll try to assess that whether that's true or not. So you will have to understand that these are sort of speculations, but these I'm speculating these because I feel that these are the most logical speculations that we can make, and these are the most reasonable inferences that we need to make so that we can prepare accordingly. Okay. First and foremost, do not panic. I have received 4 5 messages from people saying that we have been preparing for 1 year, we are a dropper, uh, हमारी पूरी लाइफ चेंज हो गई है इस पेपर पैटर्न के बाद. ट्रस्ट मी, नहीं हुई है. uh, नहीं हुई है because paper pattern सबके लिए change हुआ है. It's not just you. So the first and foremost step that you need to take when something like this happens is that calm down, understand what is happening around you, and then we will move on, and then we will plan and move on accordingly. Instead of bombarding Telegram with so many messages, entering thousands of Telegram groups and WhatsApp groups, it's better that you just observe what's happening, listen to the right people, and then take decisions to how do you want to go about it. People have been asking so many stupid questions. I'm sorry to say that, but people have been asking so many stupid questions They also know that we also don't have a lot of clarity about this. They also don't have a lot of clarity about this. Asking those questions just leads us to nowhere. So the first and foremost thing that you're supposed to do when anything changes is that do not panic. Right, that is the first rule. The good thing about this is that you should also think that if you were somebody who is not very well prepared, or somebody who was just in the phase of like getting like better mock scores, etc., and there were people who were getting like very good scores, etc., it again brings down the competition to a level playing field, because now everybody will have to start from a common point, right? Because paper to sabke liye change hua hai. Okay, so first and foremost, do not panic. Second rule, don't predict the paper pattern. I can't emphasize on this enough. Uh, Here, when I say prediction, I mean that don't try over scrutinize what's going to happen. What I mean is that don't try to say that, okay, maths will be of 5, 7, 8, 10, 12 marks. Don't do that. You should leave that to the people who would be making your mocks. You should leave that to people who have a far more experience than you in the CLAT industry. Your job is to attempt mocks, let those surprises, like adapt to those surprises that people will throw at you in the mocks, and make your strategy accordingly. Please do not think that English will be 25 marks, or will it have 5 passages, will it have 6 passages, what's going to be there, will the length of the passages increase, etc. Because the answer to all of that could be yes or a no. So we say that answer to all your questions is a maybe. Now, how do you tackle maybes? The best way of going about the maybe is that take a breath. Every time now you open the mock, you will find that there is some change or the other that's happened in the mock paper, right? There is a chance that English has more number of questions per passage, or English has less number of questions per passage, or English in general has less passages or more passages. Anything can happen. Don't waste a lot of time in predicting the paper. Your job as the aspirants is to simply write the mocks, plan accordingly, strategize accordingly. Don't try to predict the paper. That's the golden rule I can give you at this point of time. There is a chance that CLAT might release a sample paper, and that is going to be a good thing, obviously. But frankly, CLAT or ALIT has never like properly uh, adhered to the sample papers they release, right? They haven't always like the actual paper has never been in consonance with the sample papers they release. So it's better that you start adapting. It's better that you like start improvising after every mock that you see, or after every sectional that you see. uh, Being able to adapt, being very quickly in improvising, will give you a very huge lead with respect to the people that are in the competition and the people who are unable to adapt to the paper. Now, the next and most important thing, I just like hated seeing so many messages on the Telegram groups and all sorts of social media platforms, whether the cutoffs will increase, decrease, or whatnot. When I wrote CLAT in June 22, the cutoff to National Law School was 105 marks. The people who wrote CLAT, similar paper CLAT in December 2023 or 22, the cutoffs were 100, like 98, 99 marks. So the inference is that you can never really predict the cutoffs. Cutoffs are based on multiple factors. That first includes the difficulty level of the paper. Second, it also varies on the competition of the number of people who are writing the paper, and it also, like most importantly, is also based on the number of seats that you have per college, right? So don't try to predict the cutoffs so early on. Uh, After you write a few mocks based on the new pattern, you will start getting the hang of what is technically or ideally a good score. So that is something that we'll have to figure out after like we are done with 5 6 mocks at every coaching institute. However, don't try to like predict the cutoffs early on. Don't try to make very logical assumptions that, oh, people used to like out of 150 score 105. That's how they got into national law school. So that's approximately what 70% marks. So if I score a 85 above, will I get national law school or not? Don't try to do this. That won't help you at all. So that's my second insight. Let's see what the third insight is. Okay, yeah. Now we are coming to the meat of this section. Meat of this session. Oof. Okay. Uh, the time remains the same. However, the number of questions go down. What does this mean? It means that now you have to be a lot more accurate with the answers that you mark. You have to make sure that every answer that you mark, because you are getting more time to mark that answer, that has to end up as a correct answer. It has to end up as a correct answer on your OMR sheet, because there is a very high chance that a lot of people will have 110 plus attempts in the new pattern. There are people who have already been attempting 130 plus questions in the paper, right? So for them, it's going to be a cakewalk attempting 120 questions. What's going to actually change is how accurate you are with those number of questions. So accuracy will triumph the number of attempts. It's a good thing for people who probably did not have very fast reading speeds, but who had like very good comprehension abilities. So now you can probably read a lot slower, but you can end up marking the correct answer. So that's a good thing. However, it's also a negative thing for people who are fast readers and people who are sort of understood things fast as well, because there's a higher chance that because there are less number of questions, you might overthink the answer that you are going to mark. So people who overthink, it might just be a problem for you, because there's a chance that because you think that you have a lot of time, you might take a lot more time to mark the right answer, which may not end up as the right answer. So that's something that you'll have to consistently work on. Uh, okay, so I hope there are no questions till now. In case there are, I'll take them after a few minutes. uh, Hey Aditya, should I do old pattern mocks till the new ones get settled? I think I'll answer that in the upcoming slides. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Maths. Whew, I think this is a very, very important question. That's something like this is something that you need to address as soon as possible. So, when the paper was of 150 marks and you only had what 15 questions, that meant that you still have 135 questions if you leave maths. However, now because the timing remains the same, but the questions come down, you can't leave maths anymore. Leaving maths or not doing maths in the paper is as suicidal as it can get. The reason I'm saying that is that now you will have to attempt a lot of questions or almost all questions in the paper, because you will have time to do so. And in that time, if you don't know the maths concepts or if you don't know how to solve those questions, it might just be a deal breaker for you. So if you haven't been focusing on maths, it's time that you get up and like start working on maths as soon as possible. You will have to get like a 80%, 90% marks in this section and to get into a very good college. So the best way of starting and going about maths is that start with the concepts and make sure that you don't leave any important concept while preparing. List of important concepts. Do percentages very well. Do profit and loss very well. Simple interest, compound interest, averages, ratio and proportion, uh, time and work, time, speed, and distance, questions, mixture, allegation. Do all these topics very well. Don't leave any of this, because there's a chance that there might be a set of 5 questions, and if you don't know a concept of say mixture and allegation, you will not be able to attempt those 5 questions. So now leaving maths is suicidal. I can't emphasize on this enough. People who are good with maths, I mean, you will take the lead here, because now you will have even more time to solve the maths question, right? So, so I think use that to your best of your advantage. Make sure that you brush up your concepts and you try to get 100% score in this particular section. I mean, I'm not sure whether they'll increase the difficulty level of maths or not, but assuming that it remains the same, and instead of 15 questions, they only give you 12 questions. 12 questions, I'm saying, because again, that's 10% of the paper, something that CLAT says that it will be. Uh, so if they give you 12 questions, there's a probability that either they can give you two sets of 6 questions each, and the set might be a bit difficult, or they will give you 3 sets of 4 questions each. It could be either. So you'll have to prepare accordingly, and that's something that we will make sure that we provide to you in the mocks as well. Now, fifth, okay, it's the same thing because that's how important it is, right? So just make sure that you have taken a note of it. uh, भैया जीके का क्या फंडा what क्या changed, what is there any change that we need to bring in our GK preparations? Frankly, no. It remains as it is. You probably just have to attempt less number of questions, but fundamentally GK remains same. There has to be no change in the preparation strategy, attempt strategy, or whatsoever. uh, just try to like focus on GK the way you have been. I still don't see if like one-liners would appear in the paper, but considering a lot of you are appearing for ALIT as well, uh, I don't like. There's no reason for you to not do one-liners or not do one-liner GK or current affairs. So just focus on both current affairs, important topics, as well as one-liners. And I will also suggest that start focusing a bit on foundational slash static GK as well, because again, CLAT is unpredictable. You have seen that yesterday. There's absolutely no doubt that CLAT might come up with 15 questions of static GK in the paper as well. So I always suggest everybody who has been preparing for GK to do all the three things, which is most important topics, current affairs, one-liners, as well as static GK. How to prepare for one-liners? I think almost every coaching that releases a magazine will have one-liners in them. Other sources are GK Today, uh, GK Today, and like Manthan and all are also great. So I think CLAT Post also releases 100 one-liners every time they release one volume of CLAT Post. So that should be more than enough. Uh, so I think that's more or less about GK. Uh, Next, mocks. How do we go about mocks, and is there any change that we're supposed to make in writing mocks? Uh, so, frankly, I would strongly suggest that as soon as the new pattern mocks are available, start writing them. It's important that you adapt yourself to the new pattern as soon as possible, and that's the reason why we were the first ones to release a sample paper yesterday, right? So you already have one mock available. The next thing, what about the mocks that have been like created by coaching institutes? uh, like what about the mocks that have been previously created in coaching institutes, and can how should I go about them now? So the way I see it, that you can use them for practice, but I don't see if you need to like time them for 2 hours and solve 150 questions anymore, because the CLAT has changed it. I don't recommend you guys doing that. You can still write them as sectionals, and you can still write them just for practice, but just try and changing just like try and transitioning to the new mocks as soon as possible. So is there any like more questions about the mocks, or like I can move on? You can ask like the mock questions right now. But like before coming to any conclusion or any new strategy with respect to the new paper pattern, I would suggest that come to a strategy only after you have written 4 to 5 mocks based on the new pattern. So ideally, you should utilize the next 2 3 weeks writing 5 6 mocks, and then thinking of how do you want to go and strategize about your way of attempting the paper. Please don't message your mentors. Please don't message people just after writing one mock, because that mock may not be the best representation of whether you should go about a particular strategy or you should not go about a particular strategy. Okay, I see this one question: how many marks is sufficient to get enough practice? There's no one answer to that. So mocks are a great way of understanding where you lack. The idea of mock is to practice before the actual match. So the idea is that you write any number of mocks and work on the concepts that you feel are your weakness and work accordingly. Number of marks that are sufficient, there's no one or there's no one right answer to that. There are people who write 30 marks and end up at NLS. There are people who write 150 marks and do not end up at NLS. So is something that is something you'll have to take care of. And there's no enough practice. Enough practice just means that are your all concepts clear and are you ready for writing a paper or not. Okay, there is also a good chance for CLAT 24 will be in Hindi media. How is this? How this will change the competition? Frankly, Uh, I don't think so that the CLAT paper will be in the Hindi medium. The reason being that, as far as I know, the NLUs are not ready for having the paper in the Hindi medium. उसका simple सा reason ये है that their curriculum is not designed in the in the Hindi language. So you might get the CLAT paper in the Hindi language, but your course material at college has not been prepared in Hindi. So that's the reason why it's difficult to have the paper in Hindi. Bhaiya, how many marks have you given? So I gave around 85, 90 marks in a span of 2 years. I prepared for CLAT for 2 years. Is Manthan okay for clearing backlog? Yeah, Manthan, CLAT post, all of these are great for you to cover back. Uh, can I see any other question? Is just doing Manthan and CLAT post enough for clearing GK backlog? Yes, that's more than enough. If you have done most important topics well in from all of them. How advantageous is this for a like me who has had an experience of CLAT 2023? I have a rank of 8,000 and I am getting into other good colleges. Should I give it another shot? Uh, so, so Rishi, I mean, 8,000 is definitely not a bad rank. And uh, I think if you want and you're getting a chance at other good colleges, you should probably take it and prepare alongside that. It's a fair enough gamble. Okay, I'll take the other questions later. So I think everybody's clear till here. What about mocks and all? In case your in case your coaching has been sort of ghosting you, and in case they will ghost you from giving new pattern mocks, just try and ask them to speed up the process because there's no point writing old pattern mocks. Uh, okay, okay. This is also an important speculation that as I'm supposed to make. People have been thinking that the paper might be very short and we will be able to complete it, XYZ things. The There's another aspect to it, and I'll also go through it once I discuss the sample paper that we released yesterday. Is that there is a chance that paper might not be shorter in terms of the passages because I don't have to reduce the number of passages to reduce the number of questions. So if you see the sample paper that we released yesterday, I had made sure that say for the English section, you still did 6 passages with just 4 questions each. Right. So in that case, the length of the paper does not really get shortened. You are anyway reading 6 passages, you're just solving 24 questions. So have that in the back, have that thought in the back of your head as well. Don't be overconfident. Don't think that now paper is becoming easier because it can go the other way as well. Okay, next. Okay, I think this I can't emphasize on this enough. Expect a lot of surprises. Uh, this is something that happened with ALET last year as well in December. the paper was completely opposite of what like NLU Delhi has been given, right? They gave one passage and English and logical right after each other. So, frankly, if you think about it, you should understand that CLAT saying something does not legally bind it to do that particular thing. It's up to them what they want to give to you and what they don't want to give to you. You will not be able to complain if, say, for example, they give you one English passage which is say 3 pages long and just has 10 questions, or say just has 5 questions. You will not be able to predict that, and you will not be able to like say that ये तो आपने कहा नहीं था but ये कैसे आ गया पेपर में. So the best way of tackling that is expect surprises. If you will not expect surprises and if you think that paper will be of a certain kind, the way we have been getting at the coaching institutes, there is a high chance that you will end up messing your paper. But if you tell yourself that paper will have surprises, you are in a better position to go and uh, tackle those surprises, right? So I can't emphasize on this enough, but frankly you guys will do a very good job if you expect surprises and work accordingly. That's the reason why I keep on telling, like, talking to my mentees also about the fact that you need to be very flexible about the way you attempt the paper. Don't go into the examination hall thinking that I will attempt the paper in this particular way only. There is a chance that the paper has surprised you in that as well. So be very clear with that. Uh, okay, diversify the mocks. So because right now every coaching will be in this fix that what will be the paper like, blindly trusting any coaching institute with the mocks might have you like might be sort of problematic. The best way is that try to write, I'm not saying try to write the mocks of all the coaching institutes, but at least have 2 3 variations when it comes to the test series and when it comes to the mocks. So if you are writing 2 to 3 mocks every week, 2 of them could be of your original coaching institute and one could be of some other place. So that will just keep you that will just keep you like that will just tell you that okay, this is what other people have been doing and this is how they are diversifying the types of questions they ask and other things that they do. So just make sure that you diversify your mocks and don't get used to one particular type of mocks only. uh, Okay. Yeah. So I think let's move to the NLTI sample paper. I wanted to tell you guys 2 3 things from it, and then we can call it a day. Anish, are you here? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So, Anish, can you take me back to the other PPT? Yeah. So, guys, this is how I created your paper yesterday. I mean, I didn't create it in terms of questions, I just curated it together. So, uh, the way I structured it and the way I think the paper might look like for you guys is that English and CR will be 24 questions each, legal will be 32, GK will be 28, and QT will be 12. The reason for this segregation is very simple, is that CLAT, along with the number of questions, also on in their syllabus tells you the percentage every section would entail. So English is supposed to be 20% of the paper. So because it's 20 and now it's 120 marks of paper, logically it is supposed to be of 24 marks, right? So that's what the assumption here is when I've created and when I have curated this mock. So in the English section of the sample paper, I gave you 24 questions. Uh, so what I did with you guys here is that I gave you 6 passages. They were of the exactly the same length that we have been asking in the other mocks, the old mocks. But what just did was I just gave you like four questions per passage. So technically, you had to read like the same number of passages. So in this mock, I just tried to tell you what CLAT can do, like using all the sections. Now, the next GK. In this particular mock, I gave you 28 questions. There were four passages with five questions each, and there was this one passage which had eight questions. CLAT can use the permutation combination in a way that it might have just four passages with seven questions, making it 28, or it can have seven passages with just four questions, making it 28, right? So I'm just trying to tell you how the CLAT consortium and how we will also play around in your upcoming mocks. Legal reasoning. Four passages with five questions, and then I give you three passages with just four questions, right? So at least in legal, there's a short sort of a consensus that at least one passage will go, right? Or there's also a chance that you might just have eight passages with just four questions each. Anything can happen. The best way of decoding that would be by writing a lot of mocks, and we at NLTI will try to make sure that we give you all sorts of permutation combinations when it comes to all the sections as well as 120 questions CR. So what I did was I did completely opposite of what I did in English in CR. I removed one passage altogether. So in CR you are only doing five passages and you're doing this one passage with just four questions, right? This is English and CR are exactly opposite of each other, right? So probably in the next mock that we release at NLTI, we might just switch this. Now, let's come back to QT. Again, as I said, it could be either six questions and two sets, or it could be three sets with four questions. I think there's a error here, right? So this is what your paper can ideally look like. Obviously, there can be a lot more permutations, combinations, but this is what at least we at NLTI were able to come at consensus with, that this makes a lot of logical sense. At least the division of the total number of questions, which is 24, 24, 32, 12, and 20 and 28, right? So I think that's the sample paper. I can take you guys through the sample paper, and in case you have any issues slash questions, you can let me know. Anish, can you have the sample paper? Yeah, great. Uh, so guys, this is the sample paper that we created. The passages are almost of the same length for English, with just four questions each. Uh, GK, we have 28 questions. The question type remains the same. Uh, yeah, so I mean, you can see it from the length of the paper as well. That generally also the length of our mocks is 45 to 50 pages, right? And even after removing 30 questions, we have been able to give you a mock which is 48 pages long. So that shows that paper might not be shorter the way that you guys are thinking. Uh, yeah, so that's more or less about it. That's what my observation about this paper is. In case you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them on the, like, you can ask them here as well, and you can also ask them at the Telegram group that we have. Should we stop giving mocks in the older format? You should give them, but don't give them as proper mocks. I'd suggest write them as sectionals, or just use them for practice. So you NLTI guys basically relied on the percentage distribution of each section. Correct. That's what the assumption is. But trust us that we will not just rely on this when it comes to our mocks. We will try to give you all sorts of surprises that CLAT might give you. How do we work on accuracy? So I think the first way with respect to this paper should be like, especially when it comes to this paper, the best way of like even thinking about accuracy is let's first write a few. There's a chance that because you are attempting less number of questions, your accuracy might just shoot up or it might just go down. So first write a few mocks and then we can probably have a chat about it on the Telegram group. Will you give mocks of shorter length? Yeah, yeah. So whatever mocks that we give from now on will be of the new pattern. They will be only 120 questions. Where do you cover CR concepts? I think for CR, Akshat has done a great job creating the CR Panicia course. So I think that should be your go-to source. uh, what would you suggest for improving legal? Guys, now you're just asking me random questions. I can tell you the answer, but like, again, for legal, first cover your concepts of criminal, constitutional, torts, contracts, and few miscellaneous laws, including family law and intellectual property right. And the most important suggestion I can give you, the most important suggestion I can give you for legal is that read the passages carefully. If you guys check our if you guys check our YouTube page, there was a master class that was taken by Akarsh Bafna. So he has explained how to go about legal. So you can watch that. Will there be long passages and hard comprehension? That is possible, guys. You're asking me questions. That is, you are just asking me questions that are just like speculative in nature. I'm Because we also don't have clarity. The best way to make sure that you guys are well prepared for the paper is by us giving you all types of mocks, right? So we will also give you mocks that are probably very lengthy and are hard to comprehend. So don't worry about that. Would you recommend attempting the NLT sample paper? Yes, of course. So that would give us a very good insight about how, like, what's the score range that people are getting when they attempt it. What should be our new aim in mocks with the new pattern? I think don't have any aim as such. Just like the first 4 or 5 mocks that you write of the new pattern should be just like for you to get a gist and just get you the vibe of the paper. Then we can think of what should be the aim and how do you want to strategize it. Uh, Guys, any more questions, or I can leave? I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope I gave you some clarity in when there is no clarity with everybody. Like, which channel you setting the CLAT 24 paper? Guys, I just asked you, don't ask me random questions. How will this change anything? I mean, who is setting the paper? How will this change anything in your attempt strategy or anything of that sort? Dhruv Shukla, I think you joined late. I have already talked about this, so just go through the previous messages. Okay, I think with this, I'll call it a day. Anish, are you here?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here only.
Yeah, so I have given you a basic idea about the new paper pattern. Uh, in case you have anything to add.
You're asking me? Oh, no, no, it's
Yeah,
fine. I think you covered almost everything. So that's fine. We'll call it a day. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. If you have any doubts regarding NLTI, I'm here for next 2-3 minutes. I'll be happy to solve it. But I think Aditya comprehensively covered the new paper pattern, and I do not have anything to add to it per se. So Aditya, I think you can leave the session. Thank you so much for joining. I'll take it forward from here if they have any doubts regarding NLTI.
Sure, I hope you guys enjoyed and got some clarity. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much. Uh, yes, guys, thank you so much for joining in. That was it from our uh, session on new CLAT pattern decoded. If you have any doubts regarding NLTI or any random doubt, also, I'm here for next 2-3 minutes, and I'll be happy to take it from here. Uh, so basically, I'll also give you like my perception of what the paper pattern is. So I usually talk about two approaches to the CLAT pattern. One is the attempt centric, and one is the accuracy centric. So what? And I had always been an ardent follower of the attempt centric approach, that you should go all in and attempt as many questions and as many questions as possible, because ultimately it will improve your accuracy only. But if you focus more on accuracy and attempt like at only 110 questions, or let's say 120 questions, you are already out of the race for NLS or NALSA for that matter. But now, since only 120 questions are there, I think you should start reading slowly. You should start comprehending a little more, focus more on the accuracy part, focus less on the attempt part. Because let's say if we used to call like 130 or 135 attempts out of 150 a good or ideal attempt to get into the race for NLS or NALSAR, now the same would be 100 to 105 maximum. So 105 would be like a very good number of attempts for NLS or NALSAR if you have a good accuracy. So 105 attempts within 120 minutes is not a lot, are not a lot, because out of that, let's say if we assume that 30 questions would be from GK, and you can do 30 questions within 5 minutes, so or 6 minutes, let's say, so you'll have 115 minutes just to attempt, let's say, 80 questions or 90 questions. So you'll have a lot of time at your hand, 115 minutes to attempt 80 to 90 or 90 to 100 reading based questions. So that's a lot of time, and you do not have to rush things now. You should focus more on the accuracy part, start reading slowly, start trying to comprehend things a little more. You should not like just rush into your CLAT exam. Okay, ABCD, ABCD, ABCD. You do not need to do that. You need to comprehend things, read between the lines. I think the paper pattern would not change, the type of questions would not change. I think the difficulty level might increase a little bit, that you need to apply a little bit more mind to the questions, and there might be tricky questions where you have to read in between the lines and figure out answers. So that's one thing. If we enroll, there's a question: if we enroll in LTF or not, should we wait for the new mocks with the updated pattern? I think this is something I told to another aspirant yesterday, that I think there's no harm in attempting the previous mocks as well, because if you're able to attempt, let's say, 150 questions in 120 minutes, there's no stopping you from attempting a lot of questions, let's say even 115 questions out of the 120 in the new paper pattern. So if you prepare yourself for the worst by giving older mocks which have 150 questions, that's a very big very good thing, a very big boon for you if you're able to solve those questions also. And there's no harm in practicing. Do not consider the older mocks just as the mocks. Consider it as your preparation material, as your syllabus. Like, you need to solve questions. For what do you need to do for CLAT is basically solve questions, and then one mock you'll have 150 questions to solve. So it's not that you should wait for only the new mocks to come in. I think it's a very good thing, and you are very advantageous if you're able to solve 150 questions also. Let's say if you're able to attempt 130 to 135 questions in the older mocks, that's a very good thing for you, because now, given the new pattern, you'll be able to attempt almost every question, because now there's no time constraint. Earlier there used to be a time constraint, and people used to say that I'm not able to attempt, let's say, 150 questions because of the time. But now there's no such time constraint, and every person who has a good reading speed, who has an average reading speed for that matter, will be able to solve all the questions. So it more depends on the accuracy part. So go ahead, solve the previous questions, solve the previous mocks also, and there's no stopping you from doing from attempting the previous mocks. If not, if not a good thing, it's not a bad thing even. It's just your preparation. It will just help you in practicing a lot of stuff. So go ahead with the previous mocks as well. So Rishi is asking, hey, can I still buy the 6 months course, and after I, it will be late? Yeah, yes, Rishi. So we have already conducted, I think, 13 mocks, but we have promised around 35 mocks in our CLAT test series plus the mentorship plan. So the next 23 mocks that will be coming will be based on the new pattern, while the previous 13 mocks that have already been released are based on the older pattern. But as I just told, there's no harm in attempting the older mocks as well. But rest assured that the new 23 mocks that will be released will be strictly based on the new pattern only. And yes, you can still buy the 6 months course. The same is available on the website clatnlti.com, so you can buy it from there. Right. Any other doubts that you might have? All right, guys, I'll end the session now. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you found it useful, and we look forward to mentoring you at NLTI. And please be assured that if you enroll with us, you'll be given personalized mentorship. What our USP is basically that we all are NLS students only. There are no mentors from random different colleges. We prepare you for the best because we think that we are from the best law university of India. When will you release the NLTI mock 13 answer key? It will be released by tonight for sure. Do not worry about that. I was talking about NLTI. So we are from the best law university and we know how things work. We have cleared CLAT. I myself was All India rank 17 in CLAT 2021. So we know how all the things work. We see closely the functioning of the CLAT consortium that has its head office in the National Law School. So we know the inside out what is happening in the CLAT industry, and we experience it personally and we have first hand experience. So please, I will look forward to having you as our mentees at the National Law Training Institute, and please feel free to reach out to us via our email, via Telegram direct message, or on call, and we'll be happy to help you. How should we improve our accuracy? Do you have any personal tips for accuracy? It's primarily practice only. Try reading slow, and what I used to suggest for increased number of attempts is a timed reading. But now that a focus is more on accuracy, you can give yourself a little bit of leniency. Like earlier I used to suggest that 5 minutes for the Hindu or the Indian Express editorial is the maximum that you should take to read one editorial. But now, given that you need to comprehend a little more, you need to understand the passages and understand the main idea of the passage a little more, you can give yourself a little bit of leniency and increase that timing to, let's say, 7 minutes. So that will help you read a little bit slowly, while also, and that will ultimately improve your accuracy, because when you had to complete an editorial or a passage in 5 minutes, you will obviously rush into it. You will not give it very detailed thought, and you will try to attempt questions as soon as possible after rushing through the passage. But now, given that you have a little bit more time at your disposal, you should start reading a little bit slowly. Try increasing your comprehension ability rather than your attempting speed. So that should help. Does NLTI provide videos or material for improving CR or RC? Yes, Saurav, we recently released a course called the CR Panacea that was taken by Akshat Agarwal, who got an All India rank of 5 in CLAT 2022. So that's a very comprehensive course, and this is not my personal perception, but this is, I'm telling you this because of the feedback that I have received from a lot of students who enrolled in that course. So it's a very comprehensive and holistic course on the critical reasoning portion of the CLAT exam. He has covered almost everything: main idea, assumption, negation techniques, the conclusion, difference between inference and conclusion, and main idea, title. So a lot of things he has covered in that course. So that's available on our website. I'll share the link at nlti.graphy.com. So this course is available on our portal. This is our learning portal. This is not made available for all the students, and but made available for only the enrolled students right now. But you can go on this website, chat.nlti.graphy.com. This is a learning module system, LMS platform. You can enroll from this. You can enroll in this course from here. I tried reading passages from Eon and Psych, but they were quite long, so got a little bit nervous. It's fine. It's fine, MC Jack, whatever your name is. It's normal to get overwhelmed in the initial phase. It's completely normal that you might not feel yourself while reading a passage, and you'll think that you're not able to. Graphy showing a problem signing in only. That's a limit that we have imposed, Sriram. I think you need to sign out from other devices to log in into a new device. This is because of piracy concerns that we have imposed a limit on the number of devices through which you can log in. So yeah, it's I was talking about getting overwhelmed when you read something new. So Aeon and Psyche are obviously very complex. The articles there are long, complex, and out of the box. Usually, very unorthodox articles are there. So it's completely fine if you get overwhelmed and nervous while reading. It's just practice. 6 months are still there. Make it a point that you have to read at least 1 to 2 passages daily, and that should be it. And ultimately, you will feel comfortable reading the passages. Does it come under 6 months course, Nandini? So the CR Panacea course, it's made available under the 6 months course at a discounted price, but it's not free. You can reach out to me on Telegram and I'll share the details. The course is not free for the enrolled students, but it's available at a discounted price. So NLTI will provide basic concept and mocks and its analysis. Yes, and so our mentors will take weekly sessions. If you have any doubts regarding anything, the mentor will be able to take it. What our mentors also do is we take question solving classes. So let's say I'm a mentor, and this week I'll decide that okay, I'll solve a CR set with my mentees. So this will help you understand the approach that a mentor follows, what my mindset is while I'm going through a passage, how do I eliminate questions, what is my approach towards the passage. So when you are solving live with me on a video call, you'll be able to comprehend also better why am I choosing option C, which is the correct one, and why you're choosing option D, which is not the correct one. So all these things are provided in the enrolled batch, in the paid batch, from covering the basic topics to going into very deep analysis of smocks. Everything is covered in our batch. Do you guys have a Super 30 batch? We do not have a Super 30 batch right now, but we'll be rolling it out pretty soon. I think within like next 15 to 20 days there will be a Super 30 batch launched, and we'll have a test for that. Cool, guys. I think that's it from the session now. It was wonderful interacting with you. Let me know if you have any further queries. Uh, I think I'll be here for next 1 minute. Yeah. I hope you liked the mock. Please give us any feedback that you might have regarding the mock that we launched yesterday. So our test series is quite acclaimed. If you remember last year, there was a passage that was asked in our mock. It was, I think, mock 9. We released this mock on Monday, and the CLAT consortium released a sample paper on Wednesday, in which they had the same passage that we had asked in our mock. So this is a very big thing for us because Legal Edge, Career Launcher, CLAT Possible, all these big coachings have released like 200 300s of mocks till now, but there has never been an instance where a passage that they asked was directly asked in the CLAT paper or any of the sample paper. But last year, only in our ninth mock that we launched, a passage that we asked in our mock was ultimately asked in the CLAT sample paper that was released by the consortium 3 days later. So this is a testament to our quality, our quality of passages, our choice of passages, how deep our content creators go into researching for passages, and how well made our mocks are. So please let us know if you would like to enroll in a test series program. That will be so it's we are basically a non-profit institute right now, so we are not making a lot of profits. It's just that we are able to sustain ourselves to help you guys, and we think that it's our obligation to get you rid of other people who are making this mentorship a business. So we are just here to prevent that from happening and help you out from that situation. So it would be great for us if you choose to enroll in our program. We are NLS students only. We are not here to scam you guys. So please consider enrolling in our mentorship program or the test series. If you have any like financial constraints, please reach out to us on Telegram, and we'll be more than happy to accommodate you and give you fee concessions. Fee is not our primary motive. Our primary motive is to teach you guys, mentor you guys, and help you reach your dream NLUs. So please feel free to reach out to us via any mode. If you find our contact number anywhere, email or the Telegram ID, feel free to reach out. All right. Thank you so much, MC Jack, for your appreciation. The mock was awesome. Thank you for that. We always aim towards that only, and we'll also be having an All India Open mock very shortly. So please enroll for that also. Is the level of difficulty of NLTI mocks tougher than the CLAT pattern? I've gave a mock and didn't score that high in comparison to LE and CL. So what we personally think is our mocks are not as difficult as LE. So I'll not term LE mocks as difficult. They are just skewed. So I've never been able to make sense of the legal section personally. It's just skewed, it's just not normal, and it's just that CLAT won't ask that type of legal. So it's not difficult, but it's weird. The legal mocks, legal edge mocks, especially the legal section I'm talking about personally, they're not difficult, but it's just weird, and most of the answers and most of the questions do not make sense to me. But in comparison to that, NLTI mocks, if you give that, you'll know. And I have been the one to proofread almost every mock before we upload it on the website and before we pass it on to students. So what I personally feel is our mocks do make a lot of sense, and even if they are not as tough as the legal edge mocks, they're definitely better than the CLAT, than the career launcher mocks, and they're definitely more difficult than the CL mocks. Legal edge mocks also, if we want to call it difficult, more difficult than legal edge mocks, we can, because legal edge mocks are just, especially the legal section is just weird, and that's why I'm not able to score well in that. But overall, I think, like, not to be biased and all, but I think legal edge mocks are a little bit more difficult than the NLTI mocks. But like on and off basis, I think NLTI also makes tougher mocks than legal edge sometimes, especially the all India open mocks that we release. They are usually difficult than most legal edge mocks. MC Jack, I can't predict the ideal score till now, because we'll need to look at our enrolled students, how much they are scoring, because I don't know what the pattern would be like still. And I don't know what the number of attempts would be for the people, because what we have been suggesting is try to read slowly, but this might have an adverse effect that people might be very complacent and just read very very slowly. So if they are like attempting around 130 questions out of 150, and now we are asking them to read slowly and comprehend more, there is a very big chance, there's a very high probability that they might read very slowly and just not be able to complete even 120 questions out of 120. So like 120 out of 120 is obviously a pipe dream, because you'll obviously not know a lot of answers in GK, or you'll not be able to solve some one or two sets in maths. But we'll have to see, and we'll obviously get back to you on this, what is the ideal number of attempts that should be there. But this is based on the number of attempts that our enrolled students will be making in the mocks, and what scores will they be getting. Yeah. Will it continue for CLAT 2025 also, Pramod? I cannot commit this, but obviously we'll try to extend this program to you guys also for CLAT 2025 aspirants also. But this depends on the CLAT 24 results that we'll be getting, and a lot of other things that go on in the college. So yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in. That is it from this session. I hope you guys liked it, and we'll be back with a lot of sessions like this in the near future. Today, we have a session at 5 o'clock, a critical reasoning live question solving marathon. This will be taken by Kisna Shetty, who got an All India rank of 72 in CLAT 2023. So please join this session. It will be very useful because he's a topper. He cracked both ALET and CLAT, and he'll be solving critical reasoning questions live with you on video call. So that will be a great chance for you to learn from the best how he approaches a question, how he eliminates various answers. And so please do consider joining that session. And that's it. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in. It was a pleasure interacting with you, and I interacted with the aspirants after quite some time now, and it is always great talking to you guys. Thank you so much.